If you're trying to create convincing fight scenes, you're gonna have to learn how to make your punches look real. This is called stacking, and in this video, I'm not only gonna teach you the basics behind how to sell a punch for camera like we do in the big budget films, but throughout the video, I'm also gonna go over some common issues you will definitely have to deal with when you change camera angles and how to fix them easily.
If I'm standing here actually, and she throws a hook punch, it's clearly missing, and go ahead and do that really slow for me. So there's a lot of space between her fist and his face. When I stack the punch, it means that I'm basically putting the camera here in line with where her fist is gonna cross the plane of his face. So if we do it really slow one more time, and he reacts, it stacks. So go ahead one more time. She punches, he reacts, it stacks. That's essentially the basic of the basic when it comes to stacking punches, but there are a couple other things that we need to keep in mind when we stack a punch in order for it to still look real and to still make sure it looks like it's stacking, and that has to do with when we're changing angles. So if I'm on a different angle, say I'm low, and she throws that punch at the same height as she did before, it can look like a miss. Go ahead one more time. And the reason for that is because my camera being this low essentially sees underneath her punch, and it basically sees the space between the two of her hand and his face. So what she has to do is she has to place her punch, go ahead and do it slow, lower on his face. So on that profile shot, you can probably see she might be at his chin or maybe even a little below his chin, but on this camera here that I have, it looks pretty clean. So go ahead and do it one more time. Boom, and it lines up. Okay, so we just looked at a low angle, and now we'll look at a top angle to show that we still have to make adjustments in order for the punch to stack properly based on the relationship between the camera and where the person is punching in relation to the other performer's face. So basically what we can see here is that if she were to throw a punch and I were to be high like on a jib or like on a crane or something like that, we're gonna see a little bit of error and maybe just a lack of realism in the punch based on where she puts it if she's putting it in a technically sound place like you would fighting in real life on his chin. Go ahead. Sweet. So you can just see there's a little air there. It is kind of making contact, but it's not super, it doesn't look convincing. But if she were to raise the level of her punch to about his eyebrows, it's just gonna be a little cleaner. Go ahead one more time. Boom. Cool. So the rule of thumb is if you're shooting at a low angle, the punch usually needs to come down a little bit in order to sell convincingly. And by the same token, if you're shooting at a high angle, the punch needs to be up a little in order to sell convincingly. So similarly to when we change the height or the lowness of the angle that we're shooting in the same line, when we alter our shot completely, sometimes we also need to change the punch. So for instance, if I'm shooting over the shoulder like I just was, it can be a hook punch. When I'm shooting that same thing profile, so say we're in that same place in the choreography and I've just decided I want to cover it from a different angle. Say I want to be profile and she throws that hook punch again the same way, it's going to be a miss every single time. So in that case, generally what I will do personally is I'll have her change the punch to more something like a straight. Go ahead. And then go ahead and retract it like you did before. And what we notice is that body language probably wouldn't match. So what I would do then is I would have her throw that straight and go a little deeper for me this time and have her drop it at the end. Go ahead. And so what that does is go ahead and throw that hook punch and then throw the straight, same way. What that does is that mimics the body language. So even though I've changed the punch completely from a hook punch to a straight punch, the body language matches. So whenever I edit it together, think about it. I'm not gonna use both of those shots. I'm gonna use one or the other. But if I happen to cut between and over into that profile, it will match every time because I just have to cut at a point where that motion matches and feels like it was the same thing.
So there you have it, everything you need to know about stacking punches. If you want to learn more about how to master cinematic fight scenes, check out my program Fight Lab, linked in the description below. And coming up on the channel, I'm not only gonna be posting more cinematic fight tips like this, as well as some other filmmaking tips, I'm also gonna be posting some high octane cinematic action pieces. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you next time.